that we started looking at the Future of Jobs Report 2025. And then from the report, then it was Future of Job, I think 2022 or something. We looked at that and we saw how jobs were going to change. We looked at examples of people like Kodak, how they fizzled out of existence. And we said, one thing is constant, is change. It's either you innovate or you simply die. And it's even more true now because, again, we have history, we have research, we have data to show that the world has changed in the last 10 years, in the last 100 years, rapidly, more rapidly than it has changed in any other time in history. Of course, change is constant, but in the last 100 years, the world has changed more rapidly than in recorded history. So it simply means if you are not careful and you don't prepare for the next step of change, you become old school. So today we'll be having our guest speaker come up and open our eyes to what we need to do, how we can prepare ourselves. I'll allow him introduce himself the more, and also introduce the topic the more. Mr. Sean, you're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, Bishop Femi, for the opportunity. And I really count it a great privilege being here with this very wonderful team, Assembly Congress of World Leaders. So I hope you can hear me very clearly. I think I have my microphone here.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Again, I think Bishop Femi, I call him Bishop, then Femi Raji, you know, we've come for very, very, very long. I think in the early 90s, I've known him and I was always with him learning skills. And one thing I've discovered, I can remember so much clearly about him, it was all about skills. So I saw him as somebody that was just totally different. Yeah, when I need to learn skills, whether it was guitar playing. In fact, I remember one time he told me that why is it that everything I want to do, that is what you want to learn? And he knew me as an ardent learner, because that was the kind of appetite. Well, I don't know where the appetite came from. I know our parents were lecturers. We all grew up in the academic environment, and probably we inherited that passion to want to acquire knowledge. And by the special grace of God, I think the journey so far has been great, very challenging, because the higher you go, the challenges you meet, and those challenges at the end of the day, uh, they produce changes. Yeah. So every challenge has the potential of producing a change. And then every change will also trigger a challenge. There are some problems you will not encounter until you get to that point where you're about to make a transition and you're about to make a change. All right. So thank God again that we are here discussing. Now, before we start, I I've posted a link to the group. It's a survey that I would like us to fill. Basically, it's just a reflective survey. Obviously, I'm not coming here to come and teach on cybersecurity or cloud computing. I am a very technical person. Yeah, very technical person. And I think there will be opportunities where, of course, we get our hands full looking at some very practical technical skills. But our mission, when me and Bishop Femi spoke, we we wanted to we wanted to be able to look at uh, every one of us. So this is going to be as interactive as possible. We are not here as the know-it-all. So I'm definitely going to expect a lot of interaction, and that is my training. Uh, because since I've been lecturing in the UK, I've been able to see some little bit of difference between the culture here, because the culture here, education is meant to be highly reflective, especially especially when the world now is pushing education more to un unconventional, let me call it ecosystem. Because we discovered that technology is growing fast, just like the video we watched, the market is growing, the opportunities are growing. Recently, the Interpol came up with a report where they stated that the rate of cybercrime is growing more than the professionals in the field. All right? The rate of cybercrime is growing more than the professionals in the field. And so everyone is now having an opportunity to transition, to build new skills. Everyone is now having the opportunity to go back to school, whatever your background is. Now, uh, what we are talking about here, like if we talk about digital transformation, we are not just saying that you need to change your background. If you're a farmer, if you're an accountant, if you're in horticulture, I believe whatever we do, even if you're a civil servant, every one of us, we are doing whatever we are doing in order to make profit, to be relevant, to improve our career, and to make a change to our generation. So there are a lot of opportunities. If you look at, there's a guy called Morse, Morse, Morse law. And part of what he said is that the growth of transistors in devices will keep on moving at a particular geometric progression, you know. So I used to tell my students that they should go online and check how many transistors you have in an iPhone. And they are surprised when they say 16 billion. They will all look at me and say, yes, the iPhone has about 16 billion transistors. Now, if you compare that to how many transistors maybe the Alcatel or something had many years ago, maybe you are talking of like 10,000 or 20,000 or something. And so we are at a super highway of change. But what is most important now is not, because I think the World Economic Forum, Davos 2020 something, then they had this discussion about emerging technology, which was always also called the fifth industrial revolution, um, where we had data, of course, technologies like artificial intelligence, uh, IoT, augmented reality, VR, and things like that. But 2022, it will surprise you to know that yes, the world has experienced greater change in the last 100 years than ever before. But it will surprise you to know that the world has experienced greater change between 2022 and now than what we ever had because of the rise of generative AI. Generative AI is changing the world. So we can go all and all talking about technology, but there is a bigger challenge. Yeah, there's a bigger challenge, and that is what I first want us to look at. There's a bigger challenge, and that challenge is not. Uh, yeah, I want to share my screen, but I'm on my phone and on my laptop, and the issue is I cannot. If I share it on the laptop, I don't know how you see it. If I make it a spotlight,
Yeah,
That's my challenge.
I've made both devices co-hosts, so you can share. We will be able to see it. Did you join the meeting with your laptop too? We can't hear you in case
Okay.
you are speaking.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just went to sort something out. Okay, good. So if you've done that, thank you very much. And so come to share. Share my screen. Then put this up.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see.
Yeah. All right. So like I said, there's a bigger challenge. And what do I mean by there's a bigger challenge? The bigger challenge I'm talking about is being able for us to bridge the gap between what we want and what really we get. I attended a meeting not too long ago, and somebody was talking about technology and AI, and there was this so much excitement when he was talking about it. And I told somebody, I said, if you know a technology, so I think I should ask that question in the chat. I think I should ask that question in the chat. If you know a technology that is able to make the whole world very rich, are you going to give it out for everybody to play with? So drop your answer in the chat. You know a technology that will make the whole world very rich. Are you going to give it out for people to play with? Somebody says, no, I won't. Very good. Okay, let's get more response. If you know a technology that is able, somebody said never. Yes, those are very interesting comments. Yeah, please, more people should fill the form, okay? So that we can, all right? So somebody says, no, I won't. Because if I give it out, it loses its value. If everyone can access it, it's no longer rich. All right, let's get more response. If you know a technology that can make the world or people very rich, will you give it out for people to play with? So can we get more response? Please also fill the survey because what is going to benefit us here today is that we are able to reflect. Because I'm telling you, Bishop Femi, if we just for us to come here and get ourselves excited about AI, IoT, data, everybody will talk, and everybody will go home. There is always a bridge to close between reality and expectation. And I think that is where a lot of challenges lies. And if we want to end up being productive, okay? If we want to end up being productive, we need to find how to close this bridge. All right, we need to find how to close this bridge. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to talk. That's why for many years, I have stopped teaching people about their potentials. I used to also be a potential I used to also be a potential teacher, a potential this, potential that. But you see, there are two types of energy. We have the potential energy and we have the kinetic energy. The potential energy, as the word implies, shows what you are capable of doing. Kinetic energy is what actually shows movement. So I noticed that a lot of us are trapped in the potential cycle. And if there's one thing that I've broken in my life, that I know I have broken out successfully, is from that potential cycle. All right? That potential cycle. CYCLE. I have moved from my potential to my kinetics. I was talking to a friend of mine and he called me and I told him, I said, by the special grace of God, I'm yet to see something that I set out to do that I didn't do. Now, mind you, I didn't say that I didn't achieve. There are many things I set out to do that I failed, but when I've made up my mind I was going to do something, I really, really was going to do it. This is very, very critical because if we don't beat some of these, what I call self-sabotaging habit, it does not matter what technology is out there. It does not matter the rate at which the world is. It does not matter the job market. I am telling you, we will only be part of the people who are hailing technology. Oh, technology has come. Oh, AI has come. And at the end of the day, nothing will happen. Now, why did I ask that question? The very fact that we were giving ChatGPT to use is to show that the people that gave us, they did not bring ChatGPT because they want to make you rich. Now, if they know ChatGPT will give you eternal freedom, they will not give it to you. If they know ChatGPT will make you to become like them, like Jeff Bezos or like the rich, nobody will give you something for free, just like that. And why am I saying this? Because we should not get excited. Rather, we should have a strategy. And that's why we're here. That's why at first if you look at the title that we gave this teaching, we said how to prepare for opportunities you are praying for. Why? Because we have acknowledged, I love the video that was played, we have acknowledged there are opportunities. Yes, that I said that is not the issue. There are opportunities. When I came to the UK, I identified there were opportunities. And I started positioning myself for the opportunity. And the first thing, I'm just like what was said, I'm from an electrical electronic background. But for quite a lot of time, I have been doing a lot of emerging technology, computer engineering. I remember teaching on artificial neural network. A friend of mine met me one day and said that, look, I want to solve this problem. I have a power stabilization problem whereby how do we solve the problem of fluctuation with AI? This was in 2017. I've never interacted with anything AI before. And so I told him, I said, okay, I have a friend in South Africa. And then when I spoke to the South African guy, he said, I need to go online. And I need to go online to check for people with skills in neural networks. All right. And so I contacted somebody, and the person said, we should pay whether not 5 million or something. And then my friend, because it was obviously something that was very important, like, can't we negotiate it? And then I'm like, come, let me look at this thing. What did I do? I hope we are writing this down. I took a decision. So you see, we are talking about practicality now, not excitement. I have left that stage of getting excited over things. I am now, the phase of my life is do. There's a framework I used to teach my students. They call it PDCA. Plan, do. It is that do that makes people like Elon Musk to become very, very successful. For those of us who are Christians and who attend church, when you look at some of our Pentecostal preachers and the lot that they've been able to achieve, some of them, they had that do spirit. Archbishop also said he used to leave his house to go and look for people to pray for. It is that attitude that I want us to go with. If it's for us to come here and start talking about different technology, we can talk and talk and talk, and that will not end. But which ones are we doing? Where are we in the scheme of things? What are those things that is stopping us and that will surely stop us if we don't override them? So life is made up of energy. I remember the law of conservation of energy says what? That energy cannot be created or destroyed. If energy disappears in one form, it will reappear in another form. So if you have not achieved anything you want to achieve, the simple meaning is that there is deficiency of energy somewhere in your life. So someone asked me what do you mean of PDCA. PDCA is just a framework: plan, do, check, and act. So it's a framework that was built by the International Society Organization in helping companies to deal with cyber threats. So you can see that function do. Without the doing, religion has made us comfortable with potential. You are potential. You are the life of God in Christ. You are the righteousness of. Yes. The Bible says that God anointed Jesus, who went about doing. Look at that word. He went about doing. So it is not because of the anointing. It is because he went about. So I don't want us to be caught in the excitement of the moment. I want us to be able to prepare proactively so that we can be part and parcel of these great opportunities. Believe you me, religion is one of the challenge in our society. Why? Because many people don't understand. In fact, there are people who tell you that technology is part of the coming of the Antichrist. People don't understand that man is what we are seeing with the tech world, with the business, with the AI. That is even lesser than what God really expected and planned for man. That is less than it because of the fall and everything. Many of us are acting lower than what God expects because we do not really understand that we are here to also make our own contribution. And that is the meaning of he gave somebody 5 talents, he gave somebody 3 talents, and he gave somebody 1 talent. So in cybersecurity, we have something we call procedure, we have something we call guideline, we have something we call standards, and we have something we call a baseline. Baseline is the minimum that you must not cross. Now, people don't understand when that man buried his talent, he turned it to 0. And that was abusing the baseline. So your success in the eye of God is not measured quantitatively, it is measured qualitatively. I'm not a politician, I'm not here to talk about politics. But I like one quote that Peter Obi used to make, that nobody is expecting 100% results, but 100% efforts. So God does not measure you quantitatively, He measures your life qualitatively. And it is that quality that will make us to see that, yes, this is something that I have achieved with my life that we are looking at. Now, when I look at the poll, what are what are you currently trusting for at the moment? And quite a lot of us talked about business growth, and I love that. Academic success, excellence, clarity of purpose. And then someone talked about a new job, and quite a lot of people talk about financial breakthrough, which is, of course, connected to a lot of factors that we've talked about here. Now, which of the following is currently holding you back? Please, you can still send in your statistics. Somebody says, I am not sure. More people says, I am not sure what steps to take. So you see the reason why it is not about the opportunities. It is about how should we position ourselves for these opportunities. Another person says that I'm waiting for the right time. Somebody says I lack the right skills or qualification. Somebody say fear of failure or rejection. Well, nobody talked about procrastination yet, meaning that for many of us, we are making attempts. And then another person says, I am distracted and overwhelmed. And do you know that the problem of being distracted and overwhelmed is something that is just starting? And you will become overwhelmed when you hear when, when you are loaded with so much of information. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. We are being pumped with information every day. And instead of that information leading to transformation, it is unfortunately leading to deformation. Why a lot of people have told themselves that I don't think I can catch up. Now, when you look at the next result, so people say I have a overwhelming large population of respondents that says that they occasionally build new skills, habits to match their goals. While we have some that says they rarely build new skills or habits to match their goals. And so you will notice that for many of us in this wonderful platform, the challenge is not that we don't know the opportunities, we do. The challenge is that are we positioned to be able to grab the opportunity when it comes? Now, if the opportunity you are praying for come today, how ready will you be? And quite a lot of us say that they have been preparing, which is excellent. And some say that they have a lot of gaps. So, how do I apply myself and close the gaps? Oh, I love that question. Between where I am, that's the question somebody asks, and where I ought to be. And somebody asked a very interesting question. How can I get a job with companies outside Nigeria? And that question is very, very relevant because I'm here to tell you today that some of the challenges that you are facing, that we are all facing, also comes because of the environment that we find ourselves. So that's why I said again, we cannot get distracted with the opportunities that are rolling, that for us not to get to a point of tackling why we have not become part of it. Now, and I said, what one thing do you want to start doing to align your action with your prayers? Somebody says it needs the right connection. Somebody says you need to free up time. Someone says more focus. Someone says study more and take actions. Thank you very much for these responses. Someone says to be more consistent, consistency. Some say financial assistance. Some say to stop procrastinating. Another person says to stop procrastinating. Somebody says to make extra money. Somebody says to dedicate 30 minutes daily to study new skills. So this is an anonymous quiz. Nobody's name is appearing. I don't even know who you are. I'm just reading responses. Someone says to start practicing and learning the skills consciously. Someone says consciously make out time to pursue the activities to promote self-development. And why I'm so happy is this proves that we have successfully been able to diagnose. And this is the power of reflective learning. This is the power of reflection. That we are able to tell ourselves this is where we are and this is where we ought to be. So that's why if you look at this first slide, I says it begins with a vision. What you want to achieve between now or between some years before now, if you are already on the path, it has to be very, very clear. When I came to the UK, what I wanted to achieve was very, very clear. I read a poll that says a lot of young people fail because they don't even have clear vision. And everything begins with a vision. Now, mind you, everything begins with a vision and a revision. So I am not here to say that you don't have a vision. What I'm talking about is that your vision should constantly be revised. The Bible says a horse is prepared for the day of battle. Because the person that is preparing the horse has a vision. And he knows that the next step after vision is preparation. You must have a vision. Do you want to take on a leadership role? Do you want to start a business or you are called into ministry? Do you want to transition into a new industry? You want financial breakthrough or investment opportunity? The vision has to be clear. The vision is not the result of a motivational preaching. No, the vision is not the result of a motivational preaching. No, the vision is where it all begins from. Because if there's no vision, the Bible says we will perish. No, when they say a perishable item, what is the meaning of when they say an item is perishable? It's not that it's a bad item. Perishable items simply means that if they are not exposed to their ideal and a preservative environment for a certain number of time, they are rendered useless. So perishable items are not bad items. So when the Bible says without vision will perish, it's not saying that without people that perish are bad. No. Or they are useless. No. What the Bible is trying to say there is that when there is no vision, there is no environment that can support whatever it is that you want to do. So the first thing I want you to make up your mind today is that every day you will live a life of vision and revision. So remember, we're talking about being practical here. We have agreed, we have established that the opportunities are there. And I like the opening part of this meeting with the videos we watch. The opportunities are there. Economically, they are there. Just today, I was talking to somebody who lives in Nigeria and he works in the US and is paid in dollars. I have a friend who works in Nigeria and is paid thousands of dollars. Why? Because the vision was there, the revision was there, and then they went over to the next most important phase, which is the practicality of building skills even before the door opens. As far as Nigeria government is concerned, I cannot predict when the government will open doors. I can't. I do not have much hope that the government is able to open doors to especially this type of emerging technological jobs that is being created today. And you can see what's happening to a lot of content creators who have decided to take the responsibility themselves, and many of them are reaping the fruit. Why? Because they understood the power of alignment. Now, what is the difference between those content creators and some of us who say that we don't know how to bridge the gap? The difference is simply in their level of participation. They did not just say that this is what I want to do. They decided to take the steps consistently. So when we say build skills before your door opens, this is not just an advisory policy. Make it a regulatory policy in your life. If you just live on advisory policies alone, let me tell you, it will affect your level of discipline. For me, I don't take skill building as an advisory policy. I take it as a regulation. I take it as a regulation. I know a regulation is something that is backed by law. So in my own personal uh, administration in life, it is a regulation that no 3 months must pass without me acquiring a skill. And believe you me, when I started working, and then I even did some warehouse work, and then I was doing a job that was nights because my wife was in school. I needed time to be able to support her and support the kids. And in that moment, I started looking at the cloud industry. I said, okay, let me start building skills in cloud computing. Now, remember, in my own case, like I said, I was from a technical background. I had done a lot of networking. I had a lot of experience in the neural network. I had a lot of experience in telecommunication. I had some paper publication and journals. But so I did not like to build the skills. I was not interested in building the skills. I did not go about telling people that I have a potential in building the skills. I built the skills. And believe you me, when I was building those skills, in fact, after I wrote like 2 certifications with Amazon, I decided to try out 1 or 2 jobs on LinkedIn. Of course, as usual, they said they cannot offer me the job because they felt my skill was not up to that level. But I kept on building. After I did his first education, I did the second one. And then I went, joined communities. I started researching a lot about cloud computing. I joined a boot camp by a Mexican man who migrated the infrastructures of Boeing to the cloud. And then I discovered that my language started changing. Even when I talk to people, I was able to speak uh, more in that domain. And then one day I got a call from a CV I sent to a school, and somebody interviewed me and said, mind you, nobody asked me for my first degree. Not that they didn't verify my documents, that was not their interest. Because the world is moving away from just paper qualification to your skills. That's why we say here, build. So whether you are going to be looking for remote jobs, which are very available, you need, like I said, to make it a regulation in your life to build. And so during the interview, they talked and they talked about it, and then fine. But I didn't even know that the bigger opportunity was coming. That month, the school introduced those of us who know Pearson. Pearson is one of the biggest educational providers in the UK. That month, Pearson introduced, please give me 1 minute. Sorry. So Pearson introduced, they introduced a program in cloud computing. Well, I think they've had the program before, but it was introduced to the students that I was taking by my own school. And then I was invited to take 4 training on how to assess students who will be undertaking cloud computing. And I was given a certificate from Pearson. So the question someone will ask me that, how did you know that in less than 2 months of writing this cloud certification exam, you are going to be at the forefront of creating contents for level 4, for level 5 students in cloud computing? And I had a mentor that gave me that advice. I didn't just take that, know that on my own. A mentor gave me the advice, and I told him. He said, Sheon, that's why I used to tell you that you must be prepared. Because let me tell you, as you are preparing, opportunity is also being prepared for you. That this is not a myth, this is a reality. Now, when you look at what I have here, I talked about tech and digital tools. So, like I said, I'm a bit reluctant today talking so much about the tech tools because I know that we will have a lot of time to look at the opportunities. But when you look at the lower right of my page, it talked about self leadership. Because when you notice that you have a challenge with procrastination, please, everyone procrastinates. So don't spiritualize it or feel it's peculiar to you. Sometimes we procrastinate. Sometimes we have self-doubt. Sometimes we have imposter syndrome. Even after we've acquired some skills, we just believe we are not good enough. And sometimes we are just tired. There is lethargy, there is loss of motivation, there is decline in our energy. And sometimes we just want to relapse. We just want to what am I even pursuing? What's the essence of pursuing all these things? That is the power of self-leadership. I wrote a book in the year 2020, and somebody has been telling me that where is this book you have written? 2025, the man called me and said, I want to take your book to the government in Abuja. I've read the book. It's a little book, but it's very powerful. And I think children in secondary schools need to read this book. It can help them get started. It can help them get motivated, and it can help them to deal with self-sabotaging habits. So you see why I said again that what makes us who we are is not just our potentials, but what the actions that we have decided to take. If I didn't write that book, then the opportunity to introduce this book to the Ministry of Education, and they sent me an approval letter saying that they have gone through the content of the book and they have approved the book to be distributed in school libraries. That is why we say you need to have the artifact even before the opportunity comes. Self-leadership is what I call personal leadership. The ability for you to push yourself. You cannot be a leader if you cannot push yourself. You cannot break some of those habits. You cannot concentrate. There are some of us who have serious attention span problem. And that is the essence of all this technology that comes, AI comes, this comes. I mean, even when there was no AI, people were building apps. How many apps have we built? Because information has become so overwhelming. Now, the people that gave us AI to play with, of course, for those of us who understand how the technology works, the purpose is very simple. Artificial intelligence cannot conquer the world if everybody in the world does not interact with it. Even if there's one funny man on the internet they call Chaba. I think they are from one nomad tribe in Tanzania. So they're always showing the man eating baboons, and even those people, for AI to get its full potential, they must use AI. Now, but did you hear that OpenAI went into an agreement with the American defense, $200 million? Me and you will not have access to whatever model OpenAI will build with that kind of investment. So what does that mean? It is now, it is now that we should start being practical. Are you going to expedite your learning process? Are you going to use AI to build your skill? Are you going to use AI to learn things that you never imagined you could learn? Are you going to use AI as a learning companion? It is not just to play with it. They gave us to play with it because they know that many people will not use it to do anything productive. And they want us to keep on training the model, training the model, training the model, training the model. Eventually, the model now starts training us. And because they are the ones that have the key to the model, that is what at the end of the day we will now truly see that we have been submerged into the technology. But the moment we two decide that, look, this is what I'm going to, now that AI, this is what I'm going to do. Either I'm going to be creating educational content, I'm going to change educational delivery in Nigeria, I'm going to use AI to reach people with learning disability. This is what I want us to be today, to take a decision to have an artifact, practical, not matter of I like this technology. No, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So if you look at my next slide, I was now talking about, okay, now you need to have a deep dive. So you see, again, we're not talking about what you like, what is exciting, what motivates you, what are your potentials. We have left all those levels. The next time, by the special grace of God, we're going to have this meeting, everybody will start sharing their slide. This is what I'm doing. Forget about saying someone will share steal your idea. That is not the issue here. This is what I am doing, not this is what I can do. This is what I am doing. So if you want to go into whatever the technology is, you are learning data science, you are learning cybersecurity. Okay, Bishop Femi, Mr. Sheon, after the last meeting, I have completed 3 cybersecurity certification. That's what we want to start hearing now. I have completed 3 data science exams. I have enrolled. These are my certification. I've recreated my CV. I've applied for this boot camp. I have done this. I have done that. So that's why I say it's not just about talking about. It's not just about talking about potentials. This is my potentials. This is my prayer request. Look at some biblical examples I put here. They say Noah built the ark before the rain began. When you look at the story of the wise virgins, they had oil even before the bridegroom arrived. Joseph stored grain before the famine struck. Don't let an unprepared version of you show up to a God ordained opportunity. So, what I want you to go with in today's session is what are my artifacts? I was talking to one of my students who said he wanted to build and do something. He didn't make it straightforward. And then I asked him, I said, where is the artifact? And then I referred him to the school policy that for every research that you are working on, you must produce something tangible. Of course, there is that part of the something tangible does not necessarily mean a finished product. No, it can be a roadmap to learning a skill. It can be a roadmap to learning a tool. I used to write a lot of paper publications and I had a software I used. And then I met somebody that told me that, do you know that if you start learning how to use this computational intelligence tool, you are going to have better research output than what you had before? And so I set out to start improving my publications by the use of those computational intelligence tools. So that intentionality has to be there. Remember, we talked about it starts with vision, and we laid the reason why if you don't start with a vision and with a revision, because when I'm using the word revision to say, I'm not saying you don't have vision, but if you don't have a strong vision, you will not have a plan. And how do you move from your plan, which is still uh, a potential, to an artifact? You have to pass through that stage of doing. So here you can say I talked about a skill, a tool, and a habit. I will leave you to digest these things. A skill, a tool, and an habit. And for example, we can talk a lot about the skills. Okay, I want to do this. What skill do I learn? I had a session recently on cybersecurity. I want to go into cybersecurity. People have asked me, what do I learn? And I've had to send out some exams, free badges. Yeah, we surely have the time to go into all those things. But for today, we need to deal with that habit that makes us not to complete a training we have started, that habit that makes us to abandon something good we are doing and we did not see it. Somebody talked about forging his education. That habit that make before I even traveled, anywhere I saw an opportunity to learn, I plugged myself there. Because I had conquered the habit of saying that if it is not like this, then I will not do it. And those are the habits that we call self-sabotaging habits. And that's why outside the technical skills and the technical experience and the knowledge and the opportunities and the trends and the technology and the news and everything, today I said, okay, I am going to pivot my talk on you need to deal with these habits. Quite some people said, I'm looking at my time because in the next 5 minutes, we'll go into some interaction. Quite some people said that they want clarity. Yes, it's just like when you are driving. But do you know that even inside on, well, let me use the word on clarity, there is intelligence. There's something we call fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic talks about that level of intelligence where you are not able to establish pure clarity. And what you need to do in that kind of case is that you need to intentionally first look at yourself, look at your life, ask questions: who am I? You will definitely find that your interest and your motivation is pointing somewhere. And you don't have to start waiting for God to tell you, go and do that. Clear the way, clear the cobwebs for yourself. There's something I've always known. If God tells you to move, even if you don't move in the right direction because He told you to move, or you have said that God, I want to move, He is going to guide you. But as long as you are dormant, you are passive, you are docile, or you are acting like that servant that was given one talent, then you might not even encounter so much of divine direction. All right? So, we says what? Take action. Stay accountable. People see me sharing things on LinkedIn. I'm not there to impress anybody. It is just a way that I use to track my own progress. Why? Because remember, we are talking about artifacts, prototypes. We are remember, we are not talking about just uh, ideas. We are not talking about, oh, today I went to church, I was so charged. If Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and Elon Musk they were boasting on how much they are charged, are we going to have what they have today? That's why I used to tell people that some of the giants in the faith, they're not even out there. They're not even out there. At the end of the day, you will discover that the real giants in the faith are not the ones that are having social media publicity or the one that everybody is calling their name or apostle this, apostle that. Thank God for all those ones. That's not the problem. The real giants in the faith, remember, he said, if you have faith like a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain. So the real giant in the faith is the person that makes somebody's life to be able to move from point A and to move from point B. That is the evidence of faith. Preaching invitations is not the evidence of faith. Telling people their house address, where they live, where they will die, you know their father, you know their mother, or throwing spiritual sling and spiritual javelin, those are not the evidence of faith. Faith is what makes you to be able to say, and the mountain moved. That is when faith has been said to have worked. That from the day I had this teaching, ever since that day, I have taken a step forward. You don't have to give anybody any offering. You only have to acknowledge yourself that after listening, I was able to see that there were places where I doubted myself. And there are places where I said, will this thing ever happen to me? Will it ever happen to me? And then there are places where I cast off my restraint. There are places where I kept myself in a cage out of fear. Now I have understood that whether happy or sad, yes, I agree, emotions can serve as source of fuel, like the way you have gas in a car. But sometimes, whether you are happy, and that's me for you, I'm sad, whether I'm worried or I'm anxious, what needs to be done has to be done. I don't move according to my emotion. If I feel happier, I perform better. But if I'm supposed to learn something, to write something, to teach something, to say something, I have been trained never to rely on my emotion. What do I rely on? I rely on the vision. I have not made this achievement this year. Whether I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm anxious, I'm angry, I'm excited. No. It is that what? The pivot has to move, and I have to move it. If I don't have enough strength to move it, I find the ways to move it. For example, let me say I want to write a paper, I want to publish. I am demotivated, I'm worried, there are some challenges here and there, and I call my friend. My friend, we have not published any paper this month. Can you start working on this? Now, he will not know why I said, can you start working? Because at that moment, I don't feel like doing anything. But it has to be done. Once we have been able to make this decision, good. We can now start telling ourselves that, okay, how do we learn this? How do we learn that? What do we do here? What do we do here? I am a content creator, or I'm a mother, and mind you, my specialty is actually even bringing people who are not even technological background. Whether you are, I have taught pizza makers, I've taught Uber drivers, I've taught electricians, I have taught people who pack dustbin, I have taught them cloud computing, I have taught them cyber security, I have taught them how to use virtual machine. That is one of my training and my specialty. So it doesn't matter who you are or how old you are, whether you are 60, you are 50, whether you are 45. No, what matters most is that today you are going to go back to your vision, revise the vision, set out actionable plans. Yeah, Bishop. So I think at this point, I will bring you up so that you can add to this conversation, and we can also hear from some of our listeners. Can be in terms of questions, can be in terms of contribution, and it can be in terms of feedback. And so that from there, we will continue the conversation, even as I'm also looking at our time. Yes. So I will allow you to moderate the next 15 minutes so that we will not overshoot the time that we have. So meanwhile, if you also have more questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. And so that from there, we can continue our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful delivery. Someone is asking, can we get your contact after this class? Is that something
Yes,
you'd like
yes.
to do?
Why not? Why not? Please, you are free to share my contact with them, my WhatsApp, our LinkedIn. Yeah. You can drop my WhatsApp number. It's here. always chat me. When you chat me, I might not reply immediately, but trust me, I always reply chats.
They should be
Yeah.
used to that by now. So I hear people saying they chatted me and I didn't reply after 2 weeks. They forget. If you forget, you forget
Uh,
to.
exactly.
Everybody has something is pursuing. You are the one looking for
Exactly.
something. You chat, you
Exactly.
chat, you chat. It's part of the doing. You chat until you get what you want, right?
That's
Nobody
it.
gets it on a platter of gold.
That's it. I agree
You
with you.
chat,
100%.
yeah. And don't chat to just say hi. You are waiting for the person to
Yes.
say, if I see hi, we'll read it and move on. The other people will say
Exactly,
hi
because we don't know what it means.
and dropped what they wanted to do. Don't just say hi and stay there. Uh, all right. So any question, please? Any question anyone wants to drop?
Okay,
What
someone is
link?
asking for maybe it's the survey link.
Okay, please.
Yeah, I'm dropping it. I have an article. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm still sharing. Let me stop share. I have an article out there that I wrote on procrastination. I'm going to share it. I'm sure you can
Thank you so
continue. Let me look for it here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited about what we've covered today because again, like you rightly pointed out, we've spoken so much about potentials. We've spoken so much about them. And what is more important is what you've been able to establish today, which is the doing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or will I say fortunately, we are no longer in the era of certificates. We are now in the
Hmm.
era of certificates.
Sabi.
Certificate, right?
What can
So
you
it's
do?
what can you do?
Yes.
What can you do? So what can you deliver?
Hmm.
It is rather than certificate, it's more like certifications,
Hmm.
which is more like a testament to what you can do.
That's true.
Somebody says, sir, what if we have skill? What if we have skills, sir? Like I have digital marketing skills. How can I be connected, sir?
Yes, and let me tell you, digital marketing skills is very, very important today. Now, what I'm going to tell you for today's session is this: go to LinkedIn and look for a digital marketing job. All right. Now, don't access. That's a challenge that some of us have. Don't be the one to assess your skills. Trust me, if you position yourself well, you are going to get a lot of remote jobs as a digital marketer. But for today's session, what I want you to do first is this: go to LinkedIn, all right? Uh, look for a digital marketing job anywhere. Don't say whether in Nigeria you can do Nigeria. It can be the look at what are the expectations. Then start building more skills towards that. For now, okay, do that well. Be sure that your skills, and please, again, like we said, don't ever let your certificate intimidate you. Whether you have OND, of course, there is nothing wrong with seeking higher certificates. I'm not discouraging that because, like we talk about, sometimes certifications, they are just evidences to show that you have passed through a program. But apart from that, after you've gotten that information, make sure you are well aligned to what a standard digital marketing, whatever role is. Then from there, you can start searching out for opportunities.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I will drop the link to we have a WhatsApp group where we usually run a program um once in a year,
Mm,
usually during the long vacation, where it's a camp program for like 3 or 4 days. People come, we house them and feed them for free, and we do things
mm,
like this, right? So the one for this year will be holding most likely from the 31st or 30th of July up until the 2nd or 3rd of August. Um, and it will be holding somewhere in Otta. Um,
okay.
yeah, somewhere in Otta. However, every 3 months now, and maybe later on every 2 months, we'll be having this kind of session. right? So we might still be having Mr. Shion coming back again, but we're having this kind of session, and we're not just only going to focus on IT. By the way,
Exactly.
if you looked at the future of jobs report and the last analysis I gave at the previous meeting, you
Yeah.
discover that even if you are even if you're in medicine,
Exactly.
you just have to understand that you cannot do what you were doing the way they used to do it in the next 5, 10 years. You can't,
At all. At all.
right? So one of
Hmm.
my mentors was doing a presentation one day, and on his
Hmm.
slide, he used the example of Hollywood.
Hmm.
In Hollywood those days, they used to have people who are um, cameramen, and they have a unique skill of having to wrap themselves, around a plane, maybe a helicopter, and video
Hmm.
cars as they move and take corners, and to give that feeling
Hmm.
of reality.
Hmm.
Now, all of those guys have lost their job now
Yes.
because drones now do these jobs.
Yes.
However, some of them were able to transition into
Exactly.
drones and use the experience of knowing what type of lens to apply to your camera. They are now
Hmm.
making more money, whereas the ones who still carry those big, big things that look
Up and
like
down. They are
up
they are
and
now
down, those ones are out of
obsolete.
jobs,
Hmm.
right? So even if you're a medical doctor, with nanotechnology, with fiber optics, and many other things coming in, there are new ways of doing things.
Do you know?
Right?
Just to,
I
sorry to
go
cut
ahead,
you.
please.
Do you know, as you are speaking, there are people on this platform who, if they find how to use technology, they can set up very successful mental health counseling business. And in Nigeria, the way we treat our mental health is based on our pastors.
True.
But people overseas, you will be shocked that you will advertise your mental health school. Look, people that will sign up, you yourself will be surprised. Because people want those that will talk to them.
By
People
the
want
way,
to
sir,
talk.
have you observed how high the mental health cases have been, even in Nigeria? Let's forget about UK.
Too high self. So who is solving the problem? Many of us think is something for the how many people do you know that are set up, and what do you need to set up mental health? You should have a good mental health. That's why I used to tell people that look, never take a married, never take. How would I put it? If you are a couple or kind of couple, or you have a life, don't your life, the fact that you wake up, you have a life, and you are not really exposed to some very very adverse mental health crisis, you are already a product. Because okay, let me ask you, how do you learn to manage your crisis? How do you learn to manage your crisis? And then you tell them, me, this is how I manage my crisis. I don't overthink this. I don't keep things. That alone, honestly, can make you a billionaire. I am telling you,
Mm,
that alone can put food on your table in that your house there, in whether you are in Yobe. It is all about your packaging.
true.
That GPT is there that will help you to package your business. Just send it out. I am a mental health coach. I don't know why this is coming to my mind very strongly. But when we keep on saying that we are this, we are that, we can do this, we have that, we have this potential, we will not reach anywhere. And that's why I love what you said, that we're not just talking about. In fact, a time will come, just like what you said. A friend of mine is going to the US and is going to teach business. And I told him, I said, don't enter US without going to learn cyber security. I said, you don't have to learn cyber security of the hacking. Learn the
Mm,
one of information security management.
true.
When he told them that he did some certification in information security management, you need to see how he should respect in the school rules, because they understood that this guy understands the terrain, that you
Mm,
cannot be working, even if you are teaching cultural dance and you don't have information posture awareness. They will start telling you things like that. You notice that even the way they relate with you will differ.
True.
So we are not just talking about coming into tech. No, we are talking about tech coming into the center of your business and your career.
True.
Yeah.
Even if you're an entrepreneur, the world is changing so fast. However, so that we'll not forget the crux of what we have discussed today. The crux of what we've said today is that you must move, you must find a way with the steps analyzed. I'll post the video on both YouTube channels. You must come out from that point of I am confused.
Mm.
You must get that clarity, pick one, and then do. I spoke to somebody and the person was like, yes, I was doing something 2 years ago and I just stopped halfway. I mean, you've had 48 months, 48 months, and you have not been able to go past page 6 of a particular brochure. There is no level of Goya oil that is poured on your head that will make you move forward apart from you having a shiny skin. No level of Goya oil that will be poured because you must move. You must take a step. Yeah, I have a passion for writing and I've written some books ready for publishing. I'm still not able to create an Amazon account where I can publish this book. I don't know if you can help me. Oh boy. All right. Do you have an answer for that?
Yes, yeah, of course. If you go to Amazon, you see I've published a lot of books on Amazon. So you just need to. So basically, publishing on Amazon, you can do self-publishing. The only challenge, okay, is that because Amazon is like the stores in the US and the UK, if you are selling anything on their store, then you have to pay tax to the country or by which that product is domiciled. So you need to, so you need a UK address or US address, and of course, the way the UK and US work, nobody will just give you the address to use. But however, there are a lot of third party providers. Uh, what do they call these guys now? I will remember their names. So they will give you address. They will give you a bank number, a bank account. It's legitimate. It's not. They are third party helpers for people that are outside the country. So that's the only place where when you are publishing, they will ask you like your tax information and things like that. So you just put those information there, you know. And so when the books are sold, those ones will sell to the government with their tax, and then they will remit your money to an account. So some of them, if your money is high enough, they can use PayPal or something to transfer it, or some of them can even send you a kind of ATM card, and you can withdraw the money anywhere you are. But self-publishing on Amazon is actually easy. There are a lot of YouTube videos you can watch. But basically,
Exactly.
once you go there, you create you upload, and you upload both the Kindle version and then the PDF, and the PDF is what they will print out. A lady from Brazil ordered one of my books, you know, and she brought it to me here in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So exactly.
Lovely. We
So
have a
you can easily
sister.
do that.
Yeah, we have a sister in our midst who does Amazon publishing. So please, Sister Turayo, are you able to speak with us for 1 or 2 minutes? And if possible, drop your contact too. Sister Moturayo, are you there?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm a writer. I do Amazon publishing. In case anybody wants to do that, you can contact me. I'm available to fulfill
Hmm?
No problem. So you've got somebody available for consulting. Please, you can drop your contact or you can ask this same question on the WhatsApp group and she'll get in touch with you and then we can proceed. Now, please, as we wrap up, the essence for today is not to gather people and say we've done an event. The essence for today, like our keynote speaker made today, is that in 3 months' time, I want to hear that this is what I have done. I have finished this certification. I
Yes.
have done this. I
Yes.
have done that.
Yes.
That is what we want to hear.
Mm.
Because the opportunities, forget about it, there are opportunities.
Exactly.
You know that the number of people sitting in Nigeria and making money in dollars is increasing astronomically. If you are seated in Otta, you will not know. The number is so high that in the recent tax reform by the administration,
Yes, I saw that.
one of the laws was focusing on remote workers who make money from Payoneer and some other e-wallets.
Pioneer. Sorry, that was the word I was trying to remember.
Yep, Payoneer. Right? They know that there are young people in their 22s, 23s earning $3,000, $4,000, $1,000, $2,000 per month, and they are not going around shaking Third Milan Bridge. They are sitting in their houses. They are not involved in all the poto and traffic and abuses and everything. But those people are prepared and they know where to go and look for information. So what we'll be doing together with Mr. Seun, God willing, as time goes on, is bring in more people that have expertise in certain areas that he may not have.
Yes.
And then they will not guide us. However,
Exactly.
what we encourage these people is that when they come, they hear stories. Just like he said, he had to stop telling people their potentials. I literally had to stop at a point in time because in my own constituency, I was doing hours and hours of this talk, and I was not seeing many people taking the change. Some of these people could see the change in my own life. They saw me transition from being a banker to being a trader to being this, and they were still not willing to take a step. So I got discouraged. But thank you for the path you took today. Because again, I feel I'm encouraged, and I'll be much more encouraged, as you would be, I believe, Mr. Shehu, if in 3 months' time people say, look, I've done this, I've done that now.
Yes.
How can I package? You mentioned about if you package yourself. Writing your profile on LinkedIn is a different kettle of fish from just writing a CV. We can invite people to do all of this. However, we will not just invite people to come if the only thing you have is your first school living certificate and your SSC and a big frame picture of your NYSC, and that is all. If that's all you have, there's nothing we can do really. So at this point, we must have to stop. Can I have us put thank you in the chat box to appreciate Mr. Seun for this 1 hour, 30 minutes of his precious time. They pay us per hour here, so we understand what 1 hour means. We understand what 1 hour means because we are paid by the hours.
Exactly.
It's not like Nigeria that you just waste the hours, you know. So, Mr. Seun, I really want to appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much
for this opportunity, for sharing with us from your wealth of experience. And again, as Christians, we cannot foresee God will bless you
of
for
course.
all
Amen.
that you've done. For those of us back home in Nigeria, I forgot to ask, but let me just say that kindly put in the chat box which state you are joining us from. Just chat in the chat box which state you are joining us from. I want to believe almost all of us are from Nigeria. Ogun State, Borno State, thank you very much. Lagos, yes. Lots of Lagos and Ogun. Ibadan in Oyo State, very good. Plateau State, Delta, Ebonyi. Wow, very good. I was wondering which state is thanks a million, but I can say Abuja. Thank you, thanks a million, Abuja. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ogun, lots of Ogun State. Right, thank you so much for joining us today. For those of us in Nigeria, or for wherever you are, when a flame and hole is ripe and done, we'll post the link. If you can join us physically, please do. And if you can't, we'll also find a way to ensure it can be streamed live for us all to come. I want to appreciate Edo State. Although you joined very late, no problem. Thank you so much for coming. The video will be made available. I want to appreciate every one of you. Let's have a very wonderful evening, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Bishop.